following presentation is brought to you by the Alberta Podcast Network. Welcome to the Northern Nerdcast, the podcast that showcases the geeky, nerdy people, groups, and events in and around the city of Edmonton. Northern Nerdcast is a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB. Visit their website at albertapodcastnetwork.com. If you like the show, we invite you to share it on all of your social media platforms and help grow our community of geeky, nerdy people, groups, and events in and around the city of Edmonton. Would you like to be a contributor to the show? For more information, visit our website at northernnerdnetwork.com. And now, here's the host of the show, Dan Shessel.
All right. Welcome again to another, I'm going to say a bonus episode of the Nerdcast.
Bonus.
Yeah.
Woot woot. Can I get a woot woot? Hey, Ron, where's my woot woot?
Oh, wait, hang on. I don't even have him up here yet. Yeah, he's back.
There we go.
You know he's not
to kill it.
No, he hasn't given me a woot woot.
He will.
Woot woot.
It's delayed. It'll be delayed. He will do it. I promise you. Because Aaron is. You can. Yeah, you'll wait for it.
Aaron. His name's not Aaron.
Aaron.
It's Aaron. So yeah, there it is. See, I told you.
Thanks, Aaron.
It's delayed. It's sadly. So on today's edition of the Nerdcast, we have Mark, who is bringing D&D to kids. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on in the show, but we're going to talk first off to Mark about what he's got on his geek shelf, because we always like to find out why people are on my show by asking everyone what they have on the geek shelf. So Mark, what do you have on your geek shelf?
Admittedly, I'm not the crazy collector that most people are, but I do have a few things.
You got quite a few D&D books right behind you. I can just say that.
I do. But that's less of a collection and more of a library. But the one interesting thing that I have to disconnect here.
It's okay.
Now we can tell dirty jokes about him.
Quickly.
I can't think of one. I'm going to put on the spot.
So, there's this British author named Jeff Noon who wrote this book, Vert, that is like super crazy. Basically, people become like weird zombie shadow people. They mate with robots. They mate with dogs. And this guy, Lee, decided to turn it into a role-playing game using Monty Cook's cipher system. So the fun part of it is that when I found this out, I nearly lost my mind. It's like when someone turns your favorite book into a really good movie and you're just like, yes! So I lost my mind briefly. And then I contacted him and I was like, hey, what's shipping out to Canada? He's like, oh, what's your address? Sneaky bastard that he is. But I love him for it. So I send him my address and I don't hear from him. I'm like, well, small operation, gets a lot of emails.
Yeah.
And then week and a half later, I go and I find this in my mailbox, and I was just like blown away. Let's see if I can find any of the fun pictures here.
Age appropriate.
So, oh, don't worry, everything is age appropriate with me.
That's awesome.
I work with kinders. I'm always age appropriate.
Some of the kids I know dropped like.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Words the other day. So.
Yeah. So here are a couple of like interesting images of the Robo Dog and the Robo Man. So not the best for this particular podcast in terms of great visual images, but this is
also
like
we are an actual podcast, so a lot of audio listeners.
People aren't going to see. The great thing is I talk about how I can't talk without gesturing. It's impossible. So
I can't do it either.
There will probably be like lots of hands going around. Yeah, it's fine. Let me see what else do I have interesting on my geek shelf. Not much. Because a few things are still packed in boxes. The other fun little geek thing that I have was a pseudo-signed copy of the original script for Nightmare Before Christmas, which is my favorite movie of all time.
Oh,
but like all the autographs were like photocopied, so that like they were the real autographs at one point in time. Someone actually has it, but I don't have that real copy.
It still doesn't matter. Like, because if you love something as much as you do, you're just gonna get what you can, right? Like that is something that you want close to you, right?
That's why I need a job outside of education, because then I could have money to buy those things.
Yeah.
That's the way it works.
Sorry, education industry. I love my paycheck.
Thank you, government.
They'll cut it again.
Yeah, exactly.
My mom's also in education, so I hear you.
Yeah, you feel me, right?
I feel you there when it's like,
You're like, Mom, why are we eating macaroni and wieners? She's like, because I'm a teacher.
Well,
Not
and when I was in the banking industry, that was the same thing. People would come in with like, they'd be like, "Hi, I need you to invest my millions of dollars," and I'm like, I make in a year what you make in interest in 3 months.
Yeah. If you make that much, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when you think about the people who are like literally like counting thousands of dollars per second that they're breathing, and you're just like, how do I get there and not be a douche?
Yeah.
Right?
How do you do that?
Well, Bill Gates has done it actually quite well. Because wasn't there a thing when Microsoft was at its peak where it was like, if Bill Gates was throwing $100 bills behind him, it wasn't worth him to turn around and go pick them up because he was making so much more money.
Yes.
There's a thing.
That's terrible.
About that, yeah. But to be fair, Bill and Melinda Gates have established their foundation, and they've actually donated, like, was it 10 more than 10% now of their overall like net worth for things and stuff, and they're encouraging other people in that same like bracket
to do this.
Like those people that you're like, who lives here? Like those houses you see, and you're like, what? Who's this? Yeah. Those people, to encourage them to help the world out.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's his thing. So I went and I looked at the Full House lottery houses. Like, damn. But
I know. I've been tempted to buy a ticket. It's like, just had a newborn. I'm like, I could like get lost in the house and then not be found.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't be a bad thing.
Well, I was looking at the houses and I was like, I can't afford property tax on this place. Like, I was just like, there's no way I can afford whatever property taxes are.
Well, that's why they give you the money too.
Well, no,
they give you money and the house. So the money is supposed to go towards the taxes.
Oh, okay, good. So I didn't buy I bought the 50-50 because I could deal with 800,000. Like, that's just I could deal with that.
That's just straight up cold hard cash.
Yeah, I was like, for $10, who knows, right? But like, I was in one of the houses, and okay, so there was 3 houses, and like the first one is the, like, if you were like, and you had to pick the house, that would be the one I would pick, even though I like the floors in the middle house better. But the third house was ridiculous. So there was an unfinished basement, and the main floor, you walked in, and there's this glass staircase, and I was just like, I looked at it, and I was like, who cleans that? It's gonna be me. We're going to be looking at that because it's like all these windows around it. And I'm like, the sun's going to hit that. All I'm going to see is handprints and fingerprints.
It's going to be smudges all over that thing.
Like, all my friends got kids. And like, there's a lot of children in my life. All I see is just like face marks. Because that's what it is.
That's when you take the winning solution, which is you go grab that glass paint and you let those kids go nuts on that glass staircase on the top and on the bottom.
Oh,
You're still going to see the smears occasionally, but they're not going to be as significant or as pronounced. You're going to have this really cool stained glass effect, and people aren't going to like have meltdowns going up the stairs going, I can't see the ground.
Well, and that was the thing, because like it was not only the sides, and there was only one handle on one side, which really weirded me out. And there wasn't like a top, so it was just these like glass squares. So it'd be like one panel.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Panel. And then all the treads and like platforms were also glass. I mean, they were thick, but it's okay. No. So this is how, so you go in, like, there's the main floor, and then there's like the middle floor, which has like the bedrooms. And then the top floor is like the party room where there's like a foosball table.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah. With the balcony on the roof, right? Yeah.
So it had this huge bar, and I was like, this is great. This is so cool. So I invite all my friends over, and everybody gets shit-faced.
Yeah.
And then they have to go down. Oh, sorry.
It's okay. It's too late now.
Yeah, I know. It's out there. It
happened already.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So everybody gets drunk.
It faced.
Yeah. and then they have to go down the glass stairs. I foresee a lot of butt scooting, and then the next morning me having to go up and down that with Windex on everything. And I was just like,
there's a lot of Windex.
I was like, no, I'm gonna have to buy stocks in Windex so I can offset the cost of having to clean this.
Yeah.
And everything was flat roofed, and I was like, how does that work in our climate?
Yeah. Right. Does the snow just pile up?
Right.
Does it melt down and does that
No, they have
staircase become like a waterfall?
Well, and then I was like, okay, so all I see in the future is just like puddles on like the roof and everything. There's just gonna be like puddle divots. Like I was like, how does this? I don't know.
Or you're gonna have a winter party and a bit of it's gonna be frozen and they're gonna go over the handlebar or like the handrail.
Yeah.
Right. Liability.
No, I was just like,
Terrible.
I can't afford this. I almost budgeted having to like fully sober, having to go back down these stairs. I was like, nope, hate this, nope. Well, in the first house,
when you rent out a couple of the rooms for like $2,000 a month, and you save up that money to build a slide to accompany that
or
staircase.
you just Airbnb it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, just take the money in your baby.
I think I like the smallest one of those houses, the one that had like the prep kitchen, because I really enjoy cooking.
Oh,
there's one that had like this little like hallway prep kitchen behind it. I haven't gone to the houses yet, but I was like, that would be the house for me.
The last day was last weekend.
Was
it?
Fine.
Yeah.
Oh,
sorry. Yeah.
It's okay. They have those virtual suite 360 tours.
They do.
No, I know.
They're not.
I'm being a little bit facetious.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Because no way I went in that, and it was. So I was like, oh, that's cool. Like it's a butler's pantry, but it's like. I was like, okay, so you get up and you get cereal in the morning. So you go and you get it, and then you have to like it was a hall. I was like, no,
just keep it at the front.
Well, but there's also another thing. Like I was in one
cereal. You keep everything at the front.
I'm like,
yeah.
All of my everything could live in all of the cupboards in the kitchen. I was
like, yes, valid point.
Yeah, I was like,
it's like I can keep my clothes here. Yeah. You know, it'd be that's a lot closer.
My mother-in-law, father-in-law.
No, the laundry was always on the floors with the bedroom.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I mean that makes sense if your house is that big.
I know, right? So I was like, okay, I get that. But there was the one thing I had issue with is I was like, okay, I was trying to think of who would live in these houses, and I was like, okay, so it's either like really rich couple in their 50s with their 2 almost fully grown children. There's only like master bedroom plus 2 bedrooms. Yeah. Or I'm like elderly, very wealthy person who has live-in caregivers. Because one of them actually had like a hotel suite like room. Like there was like a mini fridge and like a sink in the room with its own private bath. And I was like, that's kind of cool. Right? But I was like, or it's a professional couple and 2 of their professional friends all living in this one house. I was like, because it was like, you like 3 kids. I just like see like the kids just like throwing stuff off the balcony and like
we have that issue with our house and just a little tiny one that we have.
And like they had one that was a big balcony office, and I was like, no. And there was a lot of like, who's gonna dust that?
Yeah.
So I have realized that I am not considered a wealthy person because those are the first questions that come into my mind of like, who's gonna clean that?
But to me, that just sounds like you're someone who lives in reality.
That's
yeah.
Yeah. Hence I'm going to buy the 50-50 ticket instead of the full house lottery ticket because I could deal with $800,000 myself.
Who couldn't?
All right. Well, we are going to talk to Marc here about some of his D&D initiatives that he's got going on right now. But first off, I'm going to take a break, which people on actually watching this episode is knowing that I'm not going to take that break. We're going to skip over that.
He doesn't stop people.
This is a stop, and no one's going to be able to hear any of the stuff that I'm talking about right now.
It's going to be like dead air.
It's going to be dead air.
Like, how long do we have to pause for?
It's done.
Oh, we paused?
Yeah, we paused already.
We're already done.
Magic. Magic of welcome back. Welcome back, everyone, to the Nerdcast. We have with us today
you
Marc.
covered some great topics in that break. I was super impressed.
Yeah, the ad break was amazing, wasn't
it's
it?
so good. Like, you really need to go check out those people. They're so good at what they do.
Yeah.
Whoever they are.
So on today's edition, we have Mark joining us, talking about some D&D in our school, or it just like, how does this work with you? You got not an Indiegogo, a GoFundMe right now for D&D YEG for kids. So let's talk a little bit about your initiative, where you kind of started off, what it's about, that kind of stuff.
Sweet. It's really easy to talk about the start because we're in it. Like, I've literally been doing this for about 40, maybe 42, 43 days. So like, it's fresh. So I started playing D&D again after 20, 30 some odd years away, with a young man who lives up in St. Albert with autism, and he needs to do something social. So as his worker, that was sort of my goal because I had a limited amount of time with him per week. So we started going to Mission Fun and Games to join their beginners D&D.
Mm-hmm.
I started recognizing like the social skills that he was gaining just from being out in public, which was helpful for him. And also just sort of the skills that get taught throughout the game, like turn taking, problem solving, risk taking, critical thinking, empathy, and all those other great things. And I work in a school that has a reputation that precedes it, where most teachers won't willingly work there because the kids are rough often. I mean, they're sweet, they're kids at heart, but
yeah,
they come from some difficult and challenging backgrounds. So I thought it would be interesting to see what happened if I brought D&D into that kind of a setting. So after spring break, grade 1 teacher John Robinson, who's a friend of mine, we met doing improv classes together. We started the club, and we had 10 kids sign up. Well, actually, we had more than 10 kids sign up, but we were only going to take 10. So if we had to break them into a couple of groups, we could, right? Because if you have too many, no one gets enough time to play.
That's right.
And as I started, yeah, and it sucks to just sit there and watch other people play. I mean, that's some people's play style. So anyways, so I had this thought of how when clubs end, there's often no way for a kid to continue them. And some clubs like soccer, you can go pick a soccer ball up at the dollar store for $1 or $2, and the kid can keep playing soccer and things like that. But with D&D, the initial startup is significantly higher and a little bit more challenging. A lot of people say, well, you can get it, the basic rules for free online. You can just print them out. Yes, you can, if your parents have a printer and if they can afford the $60, $70 in ink that it's going to cost, right? So I thought, wouldn't it be cool to see if I reached out to the greater D&D community to see if I could get 3 kids everything that they needed to start playing in the summer and carry that game going on, and see if we can start getting some of these kids role playing on their own terms and developing these skills on outside of school. Like the way I talk about it is like it's a sneaky way to teach kids these kind of skills. And at the end of the day, if they can't carry them home or can't practice them at home, they're not going to stick for long.
Yeah.
So my initial goal was to get $1,000. I'd basically sort of priced it out on Amazon. That would get me 3 of everything that I wanted to start the kids off with, and a couple of bonus things for the kids that weren't necessarily as engaged in it, but might be on their own terms. So did that and got an email from Kevin at Metro News saying, hey, we'd like to do an article on you. And after that article hit, I went from having raised $130 in 11 days to, I think the first week after that, I was over $1,400-$1,500.
Wow.
So I decided to sort of set a new goal. So the new goal was 2,500, blew past that, 3,500. So now it's sitting at 5K, and I'm not there yet. And now the goal is really to turn this into a nonprofit society.
You are getting close, by the way. Just
I am very close. I'm only a few $100s away. Yeah. And
at the time we're filming, we are at $4,205. So
what? Someone's donated since I think we started talking. That's amazing.
Sweet. So if you're out there, get your shit on and go donate.
Boom.
Sorry, I'm blaming that on the wine tonight.
Yeah.
Daniel keeps reminding me of my
It's okay.
language skills.
It's okay. This is not going to be a live podcast that we normally do anyway. So
That's true.
I'm going to edit this one.
Then can I have some wine?
You can.
Sweet.
Everything will be it-faced.
You have to take the lid off.
I know. I saw that. And I was just like, I'll let it slide.
Let it slide. Let it slide.
Yeah.
All right. So let me ask you, what got you into D&D in the first place?
When I first started playing, it was because one of my good friends' big brothers was running the game, and it sounded really cool. I think it was about 10 or 11, maybe 12. So somewhere in the mid to late 80s. And then I forgot about it for a long time until I started working with Mike up in St. Albert, and it's changed so much. And what I like most about it now is that it sort of used to be almost like a competition between the dungeon master and the players to see who could infuriate each other more. Whereas now, it's more based around that collaborative storytelling where you get to hang out and contribute to a story, and the DM kind of guides you. And if you're like me as a player, you like to derail every single one of their schemes in the most ridiculous way possible.
In there.
So, oh yeah. Yeah. There's one time we broke into a tavern, and the woman came down to hit me over the head with a frying pan. And I looked at her and I said, "Oh, you're going to cook us breakfast, are you? For getting rid of all the bad guys." And I rolled so well that, yes, she just actually cooked us breakfast.
Sweet.
Instead of knocking me out.
Yeah. One of the campaigns I played, there were these goblins eating squirrels, and I was unhappy with that.
Yeah.
So I decided we were going to save the squirrels. So I saved the squirrels. It had nothing to do with anything we were doing.
Nope.
The squirrels needed to be saved.
See, my wife would have let them get eaten because her definition of a squirrel is a rat with a fancy tail.
Well,
that is my definition as well.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of squirrels.
I have one in my yard, and it just does not like my cats, at all.
I'm
one. Okay with that.
I had one in my shed at my old house, and it did not like me.
No.
And it attacked me.
It attacked you?
Yes, I did not like that.
Did you get bit?
No, it just ran on me.
Yeah.
And
that'd be a little unsettling. I'll give you that.
It was very unsettling.
Yeah. Spiders. No.
Well, the problem was I kind of cornered it because it was in my shed, and it only had one means of escape, and it was through me.
Yeah. So you were exerting your food chain and alpha male dominance.
Which was not on purpose. It was just the way it was. And it scared the crap out of me. Yeah.
That's actually cool. Actually, currently in our group chat right now, are you in this? Are you watching the chat at all?
How do I watch the chat?
Oh, I have no idea. But there's somebody named.
Go to the episode.
D.
Perry.
D. Perry. He wants to be part of this hardcore. So here would be a good moment to tell him or her. I don't know. D could be for a girl's name or a boy's name or a dinosaur. I don't know. Would be a really good time to put in where they can contact you.
I will do that. Let's see. Now I'm going to go to the episode.
Yeah.
I will enter in the chat.
Say it out loud. There we go.
Bizarre.
Oh, there's two. Sorry. Jeff would like to do a summer club for kids.
Oh, we're actually already talking about that.
Cool.
Awesome.
Okay, so you could say out loud right now where they could contact you for things. Right now, out loud on the podcast with words.
It's all good. So what caused you to start this GoFundMe
endeavor?
Crap. This is
if you go to GoFundMe,
okay. I can't have this stream
YEG for kids. You'll find that.
Yeah, so D&D YEG for Kids is where you can contact everybody.
Yeah.
Dinosaur. Yeah. I got it. See? Dinosaur parrot.
Boom, nailed
I was
it.
right. Ah.
Okay. So why GoFundMe? Basically, I didn't have the money myself to buy what I wanted to buy, so I decided to ask would make the most sense. And GoFundMe was one of those things where it's not Kickstarter. You don't have to offer stretch goals.
Yeah.
You know, it's not Indiegogo where you have to look like an indie hipster who's going to turn this into some amazing film thing. You know, it's
eclectic.
It's just a simple like give me money thing. And here's what here's what I'm telling you I'm going to do with it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the challenge with GoFundMe, and one of the reasons why I really want to start this turn this into a nonprofit, is because there's no accountability or transparency.
It's okay.
I know.
She's trying.
I'm trying to be stealthy about it, but it's
no. You can't. You can't.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Right.
It's almost awe-inspiring. Almost.
I mean, people who are listening to this episode just didn't realize exactly what just happened or transpired here. Sam just shoved the whole entire cupcake in her mouth.
It's a tiny one, not a big one. Just like
like
it was literally a cupcake.
With some minis
that was shoved in the mouth. Just saying.
Yeah.
But not a big one, just a tiny one. So everybody can do that.
I'm gonna turn your mic off. Just kidding. All right. So you were saying about your GoFundMe.
So yeah, so the GoFundMe seemed the easiest way to sort of go about things.
Sorry, we have weird background noise. Give us a sec. What is that? The furnace?
I think that's my hot water tank. Continue.
All right.
We have weird sounds in our basement that I can't control. So.
You know, actually, I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna go check on the kids really quick.
No, they're fine.
You want to make sure nothing's burned down? That's fair.
Movement. I did.
All
so
right.
I will do that. Keep talking to Dan.
All right.
We'll be back.
Grab a cupcake before you go.
The smart plan.
Yeah, I know. I have a lot of them.
Exactly. And we're talking about the smart plan right now.
Yeah.
With the GoFundMe.
So the GoFundMe basically seemed the easiest way to do it without having to ask for like a crazy amount of money. So I initially put it on. I was going to put like under 1,000 there. Like most people start at 1,000. I'm like, that seems like a stretch, but why not? You know? So I put it on, and I mean, it's blown up. Like the amount of interviews I've done for this is it's incredibly flattering and humbling because it shows that people kind of get my intent, which means that like whatever I'm putting out in social media, whatever I'm putting out in interviews, like my intention behind this is resonating with people. So it's been like I got to do my first delivery. So the other aspect of D&D for YEG kids too is that if the school wants to have a D&D club, they can email me and fill out a contact form, and I will drop everything off that they need. If they don't have anything at their school, but someone knows how to run it or someone wants to run it, I will drop things off for them so that they have it. And then I will go back at the end of their club session. I will give their kids some stuff. Like,
and you have the resources. That's the point of this, right? Like you have the means to do this.
In a corner of my basement here, I have essentially what is the equivalent of a small D&D store.
That's amazing.
It is.
Personally, I know people who have autism, and I just I've known quite a few people who have had autism, and it always seems to me that D&D or any kind of RPG are really good ways for them to engage socially with others.
Absolutely.
I know you were saying at the top of the show here that you had a friend who has autism that you were playing D&D with, that kind of set this whole thing off in the first place here.
Totally. And like in my own Wednesday night game, we had I answered a call on the Edmonton Dungeons and Dragons chapter group for someone who had a spot opening in the south end of town, which I'm now in. So I I reached out, and one of the guys who plays at the table has autism. You know, once again, I hate the term, and I also understand why we use it, like the high functioning or the Asperger's. I mean, it's all autism at the end of the day, but there are those that are verbal and can be included in more things in an easier fashion. And I feel that D&D and RPGs in general is a great way to include people who have disabilities or cognitive and physical delays into a setting where they can feel like they have an extended family and real friends, in comparison to being just on the internet. Like my friend Mike, he spends 90% of his waking time playing Star Trek Online. And, you know, like through us playing D&D at Mission, a bunch of us broke off and started our own game, which was really cool. And like through that game, he ended up getting his first girlfriend and having his first taste of a relationship, which was really kind of neat to see, because that was something I always hoped for him, sort of in my heart of hearts. And they broke up after a short amount of time, but he still got that experience, and not everyone gets that experience. You know, it's
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. I'm back, by the way. Sorry. Kids are asleep.
That's awesome.
Music is still playing. Lights are all... I shut off the bedroom light, but like they have all the lights on, like all their lamps and stuff. Kids are great.
That's awesome. All right.
Did you see this? Dinosaur Perry has just given you $100.
What? I see. I can't have the chat because I don't know how to have the chat and have it muted, and having the delay in the live thing is super confusing for my poor little brain. I mean, come on. We just had a conversation a while ago about squirrels.
See, here's the thing. I got like 3 screens in front of me. Currently, I have multiple.
That would have been the way to do it.
We've had a conversation about how many monitors he's had. I can't convince him to sell any of them.
No.
But we're really excited when we play like Artemis and Starship Horizons, because we can have a full bridge, because everybody gets lots of like monitors
and screens. Yeah. So anyways, I have 3 screens, so I have like dedicated screens for all the various.
Yes, all the things. Oh, I guess I could technically go on my phone.
That is one way to do it.
But let's give a shout out to.
But then I'm on my phone, and that is lame.
Yes, the Dan Command Center. That's right.
Yeah. Except Dan gives up his command center when we play Artemis and Starship Horizons. Because I like the big screens for being the weapons officer. So it's my one request.
She gets this. I get a tablet with a very minimal information.
when we play Horizons, it's got like 4 buttons, which is like you can go into red alert.
Yep.
And you can raise shields.
That's all I can do. I can tell what alert status that we're at. Blue, green, yellow, or red.
Yeah, blue is for docking, just so everybody knows.
And I can raise shields. And that's the amount of stuff that I can possibly do on my end, which I'm captain, by the way. Everyone else gets to do all the fun stuff.
And yes, Jeff, I have totally earned it because I am the weapons officer. So I go pew pew and I kill all the things.
Yeah.
I blow stuff up.
Anyways, so tangent.
Sorry, we tangent a lot on the show. If you haven't,
it's okay. I'm impressed that I'm staying remarkably focused, except when we talk about.
So I got a question.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to know what school you work at, or is that?
Oh yeah, I work at Delton.
Delton, okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So, where can people find the GoFundMe? And where can people get a hold of you?
Okay, so the easiest spots to find me are dndforyegkids.com. Right now, it's a pretty minimal site, but there's a bunch of contact forms. So if you want to DM for a school, if you want a club at your school, if you just want to contact me and tell me that what I'm doing is awesome or terrible and I'm bringing the second son of Satan to the world, you can also do that as well. I'm trying to eventually like include some campaign diaries from the campaign that me and the kids have been writing this year, but
that's cool.
With it is that's a whole other thing. Yeah. On Facebook, you can look for D&D for YEG Kids, and I've got a community there with quite a few people because there was some people in the Edmonton Dungeons and Dragons community who admittedly and honestly were kind of sick of me spamming things with like, oh, I've got an interview here, I got this, I got that. Cool, thanks for the donation. Da 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 da. They're like, couple of them were just like, cool your jets,
This
kid.
isn't necessarily what this forum is currently for.
I thought so, but you know, it is what it is. So D&D for YEG Kids, pretty much you look anywhere online, you're going to find me. On Twitter, it's best to go through, well, you can go through D&D for YEG Kids, but then you will also see the link to my main Twitter account, because I've realized that when you try and start something new, you start from 0 followers. So if you really want people to know about it, you got to use your old account. So
Yeah.
So the old account is Rorschach Design from back in the days when I used to do graphic and web design.
Rorschach. Love. Anyways.
It's named after my cat.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a Watchmen reference.
No, my cat's way cooler. His back pattern actually looks like the ink blot Rorschach design that Rorschach from Watchmen's mask is named
There we
after.
go.
Sweet.
There's a whole like circle right there.
Oh yeah, it's the circle of life.
If
Yeah.
you get committed and they're like, what does this look like? You'd be like, an ink blot?
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's like they're gonna test how smart you are.
It's
According,
What does this
according
look
to
like?
standards of like arbitrary judgment, right? This ink blot looks like a goat. Supposed to look like a butterfly. But butterfly was the answer you would have gone. Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it looks
You're
like an
evil
ink
now.
blot.
I know.
Oh, no.
I always play chaotic neutral.
If you don't have a mustache, then you're not the evil twin.
Oh, that's
right.
right. Yeah.
There you go.
That's right. Thank goodness I just have this. No evil
Yes,
mustache.
just the goatee.
My current D&D session, I'm playing a Triton? Triton? No. It's like the mer
Thanks, Jeff.
people, but not.
Yeah.
Ton of fun. Oh my god, I've never done a pirate like D&D version before.
Pirates are so much fun. In my Wednesday night game, I play a goblin pirate whose name was originally Pinky because he'd gotten busted stealing and Pinky got cut off.
Yeah.
Nice.
Smart.
Really high, good rogue most of the time. Screwed up a
Most of the
trap,
time.
and now he's stumpy. So he's lost his entire left hand. But we're in Waterdeep or some big city where I'm eventually going to get like a mechanical kind of like spring-loaded dagger attached to it. But yes,
That's awesome.
pirates are the best.
So
They're
Dan,
so much fun.
Jeff wants to know what your first D&D role ever was. What was it?
Oh, my first D&D roll. This is true. Thank you, Jeff, for bringing this up. It was a 0.
One. No 0.
It was a 1. No, it was a 0. 1.
One.
1. It
There's
was a
no
1.
0.
Can't have a 0.
It was a 1.
There's no 0.
Isn't that
Do we
one?
need to find the dice? Like, prove that there's no
Yeah.
0 in the game?
It was very bad. It was just for when I was picking up a rock.
Mhm.
That's what it was. And I dropped it right on my foot.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was,
In our last Pirates campaign,
it was a very good crit fail. Thank you.
so there's this creature coming at us, and we're in a boat, and I can see it through because I'm in the hold, I'm gathering stuff, and I see it, and I rolled like high for like knowledge of it, so I got told secretly what it all was and everything like that. So I come running out of the hold, and I grab my little gnome friend, because like
Yes.
yeah.
Gnomes.
And I'm like, we got to get off this boat, and there's a pirate ship like close enough, and I like run, and I have her under one arm, and I'm running, and I'm like, I'm gonna jump and make this ship, and like, and our DM's really great. He lets us like he won't necessarily, if it's going good with the story, he won't necessarily make you roll for things, which is really good.
Which is great, yeah, because it keeps the flow going.
Yeah, but he's like, roll for it. And I was like, damn.
Oh, damn.
So I rolled. I got a 1. So I hit that edge of the ship, and we went boom right in. But I'm currently cursed as my person, and so all of a sudden I get fishtail as soon as I'm submerged in water. So I look because I was like, when he suggested, he's like, "Can we play? Like, I'm thinking about starting a DM. I want to do pirates," and I'm like, "I want to be a mermaid." Like that was like.
That was it.
I was like, I'll play. I want to be a mermaid, but I also had to have land aspects. Anyway, so like now I'm a mermaid. Now I've got this gnome underwater with me. I'm just like, ah. So then I like dolphin lift us out, and like sucked at throwing my gnome friend over the edge. So she like
Gnomes are hard to throw.
See,
I have yet to play with anyone in D&D who can successfully throw gnomes on a regular basis.
right.
this is
Right?
this is the way it works.
But here's the thing. And then I like dove down and like, because you know how dolphins leap out of the water? Because I was like, I'm going to do that. So I did that. And then I rolled a 20 on my landing. So like, Bill, like, I just like, I feel like
Went from crit fail to
like
Crit success. 0 to hero.
I feel like
that's the way it works.
I feel like one of those, you know, when you watch your cat fall off something and they're like, I meant to do that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's totally what I felt like.
That's awesome. I mean, this is the thing that's so great about D&D is the stories that people can create and the things that you guys can all share. It's you guys always come out with a great story. So I want to thank you so much, not Jeff.
Jeff,
Jeff is in our chat here.
So many more questions.
I know. Yeah.
Why? Can we pause and do a second?
We can just keep going.
Can we like, and then do another one?
We can just keep talking.
Can we? Okay, good. Because I have so many more questions. All right.
For who? For Jeff?
No,
for you.
Oh, we can keep talking as long as you guys want.
Yeah.
I want to know, what is your like inspiration? Because I know there's so many D&D games out there actually for kids. With my bonus kids, we play Heroes of Hesiod. I don't remember. It's like that you had to color them and everything. It was kids had fun.
Cool.
But like what do you use? Do you use like 5th edition? Are you using 7th edition? Like how are you?
We use 5th edition because it's what I know. It's what I'm most comfortable with. So what we did initially was we limited the kids' classes. So they're all grade 4 to grade 6.
Okay.
So we limited the kids' classes to easy to medium classes to play, which basically meant the only caster I think in that group was either wizard or warlock, one of the two. So I have 2 gnome monks, I have a couple of clerics, a couple of paladins, a fighter, a barbarian, and a rogue. So we've basically literally, John and I did probably 20 hours of prep going into this. Yeah. We thought about doing like a mega dungeon where both parties entered from different sides, and then in the end they were either going to have to battle each other or like combine together to battle a beast. Ooh. So, and we got to the first day, and John's like, hey, you guys are looking at your treasure map, and where the X is, there's just this big old oak tree in the middle of an open field. What do you guys do? And they're like, well, we roll our perception. Oh, you notice that one of the knots will push in, and a door opens, and a staircase descends. And then it's like, and that's how D&D works. I'm like, no, we're going with that. So that was actually the impetus to the story that the kids are now on. So
awesome.
Yeah, it was great. Like, that's what I love about John. John creates that. John is very good at creating a world, and I'm very good at populating it with things. So they go down into the room. There's a table, 4 stools, and a small little box. They go to open up the box, and they realize that it won't open. So they flip it over, and there's like 3 pieces that, puzzle pieces basically that they need to find. So they go into the next room, and it's all done up like a mine. So they're in a mine, so it's got like the wooden beams and everything else. Like, it's a good mine, not like the ones where you're like, oh my god, this thing's gonna collapse on me in 3 seconds.
Right.
And they come across like 8 goblins. So one of my kids who played a monk, no monk, it's like, oh, I'm gonna hit the first guy. Almost kills him, left him with like a single hit point or something like that. The rest of them sort of like go around. And then, so combat happens, second round comes around, and all of a sudden this kid's like, I want to save this goblin. I'm like, well, if you want to save this goblin, you got to get it by Reaper, the rogue. I'm like, I don't think he's going to let you. And the girl who plays Reaper's like, oh, hell no. So he tries to roll, fails it miserably. He's just like, oh, man. So totally bummed. So they go around, they kill some goblins. And then that goblin gets killed. And then he sees another one. He's like, I want to save that goblin. I'm like, okay. He's like, and then he gets into the role play, and it was awesome. He's like, hey guys, I'm going to take this goblin and I'm going to interrogate him in that other room. I'm sure he'll tell us something really interesting. Like, roll deception, rolls with a nat 20. I'm like, everybody believes you. So he walks out. So he walks out of the room, and then John takes him off to have his own little adventure. So they go and so this goblin shows him a hidden spot in the first room that they were in, that basically leads to like goblin sleeping quarters, and gives him a gaseous orb that we have yet to determine what it's going to do, but it's treasure. And so all this kid wanted to do after this was find the goblin again. So the goblin's cleared out. They go through more of the mines, and like literally we've only got about an hour to an hour and a half to play each time. So like it's a very short, condensed session. Like you're gonna have a bit of exploration or an encounter at best. Like that's essentially it. So they make some poor choices. Mines collapse. Some of them decide to go back, so that they have to go through all the collapsed stuff all over again, while some of the other group go forward. One of the most fascinating things that I really recognized, too late for it to be super useful, but I will remember it going forward, is that the kids I play with, you give them $1, it's a lot of money. So if you start putting gold in front of them, they want to hoard it. They don't want to share it because they don't have money in real life. Like it's one of those like cool things, sad things. So John and I have decided that we're going to start making magical items that have benefits and then better benefits when used together. So the goblin that the kid saved, his name is Moistrid Zerp. They eventually,
that's a good goblin name.
yeah, of course. Eventually, they climbed up this ladder and heads poked out of out of floor in a tavern. And the same kid who saved Moistrid sees the bartender. He's like the most evil monk that has ever played, but he's super conflicted about it. It's super fun. So he goes and says, like, I sneak up and I'm gonna kill her. And I decided that he's not going to. So I'm like, all of a sudden you start hearing her talk about the goblin that you saved, Moistrid. And he's sick and in his house. It's like, oh, I can't kill her. So they all end up with rooms in the inn. Eventually they go talk to Moistrid. Moistrid sends them on a delivery. So we've now split the group. So one of the groups is still in town figuring out like what to do. So John's running this group. This hill giant Nettles comes in. It's like, I want food. And instead of killing the giant, John's group runs into the inn, grabs all the food that they can, starts feeding the giant, and the giant is now sated, and like now Nettles the hill giant is their friend.
Awesome.
That's sweet.
That's the way it works.
Like, I love this. I love how like kids can like they come together. They're like, well, we don't need to necessarily kill it. We just need to befriend it and make it happy and like things like that.
Yeah. It's like I wish we would have started sooner, and I don't think I would have been prepared to start sooner, kind of in a weird way, right? Like we're gonna run out of time to play, and we've got 3 sessions left, including tomorrow. So we're gonna have to like finish off the individual adventures. Then next week we're gonna have to sort of get them brought together as a group, and then last session, not only do they get all their sweet gear, but they're gonna fight a dragon or something equally evil and mean. And I'm probably going to kill a couple of them, and I'm okay with that.
Is the dragon really evil and mean, or is it just misunderstood?
Oh, dragons are always misunderstood, just like squirrels.
Right? So just like, they get better attention span, right?
That squirrel had death in its eyes, I swear to you.
I read that.
Oh, I don't disagree that you were doing what you need to survive. And you still chose not to engage in combat and let it live.
See, like that, and that's one of the things I love about like D&D. Okay, so wait, I'm gonna tangent here really quick. So I was on Pinterest because I love
everyone loves Pinterest.
So I was reading this one like thing, and it you know how dragons hoard gold, right?
Yeah.
But what if there's a little dragon and all he has is 1 gold coin, and that's his gold coin? And like you're new in town and whatever, and you go and you buy something from the market, and the guy hands you the tiny dragon, like fits in your palm, and it's got this gold coin, and you try to take the coin, and he's like, I see you're not from here. No, the dragon goes with it. So now you have this tiny dragon with 1 gold coin that goes around and goes on adventures because he's currency too. I really want that somehow in a D&D campaign. I feel like that would just complete my life. Like it would just be so
Well,
good.
Are either of you familiar with Matt Colville?
No.
Okay, so he has an awesome YouTube series called Running the Game, which is what sort of like gave me the confidence to try DMing.
Mhm.
But he recently ran a Kickstarter called Strongholds and Followers. So the whole idea is that often when you've been adventuring for a long time, you actually have enough money to build a castle.
Mm-hmm.
But there's crappy rules for it. So he has gone in and he's been like DMing and playing D&D for like 30 some odd years. So like dude knows his things. So he created within everything beyond itself a whole new class of dragons called gemstone dragons, and they are true neutral. And I think that would hit your like sweet spot of like friendly dragons that aren't at a risk, and also currency, because as they get older, they crystallize and become gemstones more and more.
Yeah.
So you just start like, essentially you're giving them a haircut and you're like, oh, that's a sweet emerald. That's a nice amethyst. Thanks, Sonny. Right? So
okay, wait, what was that? I gotta put that down. Okay, hold on. Tell me again what that was.
okay, so Matt Colville.
Matt. Hang on, wait.
Go well.
I'm sucking.
Colvi.
No, wait. Hold on.
Well, I guess you doing. I mean, I can tell when you're going for a cupcake, but this is more difficult.
Yes, typing. I've had a bottle of wine. What do you expect of me right now?
Oh, I have no expectations.
Okay, good. That's good. You shouldn't.
No, it's not fair.
Well, if you don't have any expectations, I will exceed them all.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's the way it works.
CO.
Like right now, L.
Yeah.
VILLE.
Okay, I'm gonna just do this.
All right. I do have a GM in the chat here who we've had on the show before. Matt or Jeff. Sorry, talking with Matt. Jeff is in the chat. Jeff.
Dan's also had a
he's
bottle
saying,
of wine.
Anyways, he's saying that it's gonna happen. That dragon is gonna happen.
Good.
And he's
Jeff, you better freaking link Dan
he's gonna have it.
I wanna hear this. I wanna be like if even if
I also need to play more D&D, Jeff.
Oh yes, you totally do need to play more D&D.
Anyways,
I'm kind of getting the feeling that like the three of us need to sit around a table at some point in time. I think it would be nothing but hijinks and hilarity.
Yes.
It's just oh goodness. Wait, okay. Do you give like incentives to people that dress up for the event? Like
for what event?
For D&D. Like my DM will give like initiative.
So my table is like a very chill table, and I would totally award and I reward really good role playing, because I feel if you're role playing well enough, you don't even need the costume, because you just like theater of the mind, dress that it up is what I wanted to say. But I remember this is a kid-friendly show, and I haven't had a bottle of wine.
I have. Tonight we were drinking what's it called? Fonterra Cabernet Sauv. I don't know where is it.
I don't know.
Fonterra.
Anyways, I want to thank you, Mark, so much for joining us tonight on the episode. We are running a little bit late, but I want to thank you so much. Where can people once again find your GoFundMe, all the information, everything?
So GoFundMe.com/D&D for YEG Kids, D&D for YEG Kids.com, Rorschach Design on Twitter, D&D for YEG Kids on the Facebook, Marc Schubert on Facebook. And I'd give out my digits, but that'd be creepy, wouldn't it?
Yes.
And no.
I'm going with yes, so don't give that out.
The last four are 0690.
Oh, that's all.
There we are.
Yeah.
All right.
The code breakers should figure it out.
I want to thank you so much. You've been an amazing guest. And yes, we do have to.
We have to have him back.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
I just want to I just want to D&D talk with you for hours.
Well, there's gonna be a chance for that, but email me and I'll tell you about it.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. All right. We want to thank you so much, Mark, for joining us.
All right. Thanks so much for having me. This was a blast.
We are going to take a quick break, which we're not taking a break.
It's a fake break.
It's a fake break.
Fake break.
And then we're going to just close out the episode. I want to thank everybody out there for watching and or listening to this edition of the Nerdcast. And I'll see you guys on the next one.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening to the Northern Nerdcast. Northern Nerdcast is a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB. Check out their website at albertapodcastnetwork.com. For all things geeky and nerdy, including all of our social media platforms, go to northernnerdnetwork.com. Thanks again, and we appreciate your support.
I like that slow jazz.
Mm-hmm.